Hi, hello, namaste to all my listeners. I'm your host Sarthak Varshney, and I welcome you all to the Balls of Steel show, where you get an insight into the business mindset of the entrepreneurs. Dhandho ni Soch. Our today's guest is Sneh, Soni, and Konark Sharma. Hi, Sneh. Hi, Konark.
Hi, Sarthak.
Hi, Sarthak. Thank you so much for inviting us.
Thank you so much
Thank you
for
for coming in. How are you guys?
Absolutely good.
Yeah, I think
Uh,
we're both good. Lockdown. Yeah,
lockdown is the new normal now. Everyone's different in lockdown. I hope everything's safe and sound in the top level of your heads during this lockdown.
safe and sound in
Absolutely. I
lockdown.
think we have found our places, to be productive during these times. It is very important.
Yeah,
Right, right.
I think the early time on the when the lockdown began, the first few 15 days,
Hmm.
10 days were the hardest to kind of acclimatize to the new situation, new normal. And but I think now we're in a decent spot. We have a way of traversing and making things happen now. So like things are better now. Yeah.
Yes.
That's great. That's great. Okay, so guys, I'm gonna ask you, what is the business that you are into, because of which we're gonna say that you have got the balls of steel.
Balls of steel. Okay. Okay, so we are essentially into our B2B space where we help FMCG brands digitize and automate their product sampling campaigns. Um, we've
So
been doing this.
Okay.
Yes, Konark, sure, go on.
yeah. So essentially, just to add on to that, we are in the B2B enterprise SaaS space. Yeah, that's what we. And Sneh, I think you should continue very well.
Um, I just sort of disagree with the fact that there is a uh, balls of steel. So shouldn't it be vaginas of steel instead?
I can totally understand this thing, and I can somewhere agree that the name is might be sexist, but apparently the metaphor has been pretty much long lasting to start defining the gutsy thing that people tend to do. So yeah, I can totally understand this thing. Had there been something relation between vagina of steel and the guts, I would have not at all taken a second thought in putting that name. Definitely.
Sure, absolutely.
that's that's great. That's great. So guys, let's dive deep into this journey, and why don't you start from the very starting point and tell us everything in detail till the current point at which both of you are.
So, wow, it's going to be a long time. Sneh, do you want to take it?
I think you should go on. You're a good storyteller.
Okay. So we started out back in 2017, and our basic premise was that most things in the world are getting digitized. Most operations in the world are getting either digitized or automated. Let's say
Hmm.
like in every which format, because the world tends to move towards becoming more efficient in general, right? And we also like marketing a lot. Like both me and Sneh are like marketing
Absolutely.
junkies in a big way, right? And
Okay.
what happened to us was that we recognized this niche. Like we were at a store, right? And we were at a 24/7, in fact. And
Mhm.
we recognized that there are like people who are standing with trays and have the product in it and trying to sample out the product to people. And we just asked ourselves like, this is hard, and it was, I think, raw juice was like trying to test its almond milk or something. Yeah. And we liked the fact that they were offering us something for free, but that experience was like a little weird because it is open and whatnot. And in general, we recognize that it is something that is so important and happens so often for FMCG brands, but it
Hmm.
is not being scaled at all. Like like there before us, there have been very few limited ways to scale and do product sampling in a big way, or let's say even let alone to automate it. So we
Hmm.
went on to our journey. We went looking out and talking to, like, researching on it, and we partnered with this small bakery in Rajouri Garden itself. It's called Polka Bakery. Okay, and
Hmm.
we went in there and we wanted to see how effective is product sampling and what it is. So we asked the owner right there, if we can, he had like Polka Bakery makes a lot of unique custom biscuits of their own. And so we
Okay.
asked the owner, like if we can kind of, help, like, test out a sampling thesis and a theory with his products. The simple theory was that, we would introduce all of his biscuits laid down in a very nice tray right at the billing
Mm-hmm.
counter, right? And have people try them out and have somebody guide people to, let's say buy the product if they liked it. And
Mm-hmm.
we did that for a little while, and it had a positive uptake on it, and yeah, I think the owner liked it. And then we asked him, like if we could make small little packets of his products, and then kind of go ahead and distribute it, in colonies and whatnot. We went out and we made packets of it, uh,
Mm-hmm.
essentially little bags in which, like samosa, like when you buy samosas from store, the paper bag that they
Right.
give you. So we just
Right.
made a few bags of those, and we went to the nearest society, and we started distributing those samples to people. And we added a simple phone number, and we added a simple call to action for discounting. And
Mm-hmm.
what ended up happening was that it increased the footfall onto the store, and people started to take a bigger, larger notice on their product. So we kind of understood a few things about product sampling with this little experiment, and we
Mm-hmm.
then decided to kind of introduce scale around it. So we what we did was that we built a mobile application as our first model, and we
Okay.
partnered with about 3-4 brands. One of in Anmol Industries. Hashtag Slap was a big popcorn brand back then. They
Yeah.
partnered with us and whatnot, and
Okay.
we partnered with about 50 colleges in Delhi, and we made about 10,000 sample. We got all these brands to come at 10,000 samples of their products that they wanted to target, and we asked them if they would like to target college students with it. We made our mobile applications, and outside each of these in each of these colleges areas, like canteens and outside their hostels, we put up QR code, which said that if you want to try a free sample box, claim a free sample box of these products, you can scan the QR code and essentially claim the sample. And like we had our representative standing over there.
Mm-hmm.
So a bunch of people came forward, and they started to scan the codes, and there was a little bit of a pre-sampling survey, and there was a Facebook login that gave us some information on these people, and
Right.
we distributed those samples like that. And the biggest factor for us was that all these brands also paid us to execute this operation for them, which was nice.
Okay.
Which was nice. So all these brands gave us their products and gave us money to essentially distribute their products to their targeted audiences. Simply speaking, right? So that and with whatever model we were able to figure out, that's what we were able to do. So we
Okay.
really liked this. What happened then, like any operation, we took this model, came back to our office, essentially, rethought about everything. We analyzed how the campaign went for us, and understood and learned from it what are the good parts, what are the bad parts. We figured out, there is a app engagements and whatnot to be catered about. So we then quickly pivoted our model. What we did was instead of having a mobile application, because mobile applications take a long time to download, uh,
Right.
we made a chatbot that was hosted on our brand's Facebook Messenger page. Uh, and
Okay.
and the other thing we noticed was that it took us a lot of time and a lot of energy to have people standing with the products and distributing, handing out products manually to those people. We went ahead and we partnered with delivery, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and we utilized and we partnered with like and we used Facebook ads to essentially target people. We got again, like, so again in the next version iteration, with the changes introduced, we went to
Mm-hmm.
3-4 different brands again. Kiro's Super Snacks was one of those brands. We had
Mm.
Vitamin Drink partnering with us,
Okay.
and we had Heyday sanitary napkin pads also partnering with us. And we created a simple bag with all these samples in it, and
Mm-hmm.
targeted people with, like, if you want to claim a sample, click on this ad and something like that. And again, we ended up distributing about 4,000 samples by digitally targeting these people online and having them
Yeah.
claim the samples through a Facebook page. Now, that iteration happened for us. Again, we realized that that was a very B2B2C model for us, right? uh,
Right.
which essentially means that the final interaction that customer is still having is with us. We got a lot of love
Mm-hmm.
after these campaigns. People would come like all of our posts, give us great ratings and everything. And
Mm-hmm.
but we realized that how do we maximize the value for our clients, because product market fit is super important, right? And we want
Right.
brands to be raving about, and it's essentially ultimately meant to benefit brands. So we realized that this
Mm-hmm.
last benefit of customer love should go to the end customer. You should go to our clients, the brands that are making these samples and products. So we then again changed our model from B2B to
Mm-hmm.
C. We became a B2B model. We quickly put together another MVP. And mind you,
Okay.
this was a essentially third iteration, right? First one app, second one the chatbot. And again, this was the third one. Now here, the only change from our previous model was that the chatbot and the entire technology would be integrated into one brand's uh, Facebook Messenger platform. Uh,
Okay.
so like it would be only that you'd be getting one claiming one sample from one brand. In both of our previous models,
Okay.
you would be getting a box or a bag with samples from multiple brands, right? Uh,
Okay.
so we iterated upon it, and we were again like one of our clients came back, Heroes Super Snacks, and they did another campaign with us, and we were able to evolve our technology in a very good way. And
Mm-hmm.
simultaneously, again, back in 2019, we were able to another partner with another brand, MTV. They were launching their energy drink. MTV Up was launching
Right.
energy drink, and we were able to distribute their uh, samples with this model as well. And we were able to like see massive increments in efficiencies of how these samples were being claimed, customers getting the love, brands getting the love, and customers being able to express their feedback, and chatbot being a really good destination in terms of the fact
Mm-hmm.
that people open their chatbots and people were responding to customer feedback and everything. So that was really big for us, and Sneh was able to really bring in. We also partnered with DTDC as a delivery partner again. We were able to increase our scope in terms of options for delivery partners like that. So that was 2019.
Wow.
Yeah, that was good for us. Once this happened, we decided to like kind of go out and engage with a few investors in the market,
Mm.
and not just this. So another major thing that happened for us in the first two models, the team was a small team. We
Right.
had a 3-4 people team, right? And both me and Sneh being the only people full time. After that,
Okay.
we had a couple of interns who were really helpful upfront in terms of developing these offerings, managing operations, and everything. The major shift that happened to us in when we shifted to a B2B model was that we were joined by our third co-founder in form of Kavach,
Okay.
and he was able to and he was able to offer better technology, and simultaneously we had another team member join us who will be completing his 1 year with us next month itself.
Yes.
We were
Okay.
able to expand our team in a big way, and one of the very important things up until the MTV Up campaign for us was that me and Sneh, we are both big proponents of no code development, which means
Right.
like utilizing low code technology, which does not include programming a lot, but utilizing other
Mm-hmm.
platforms to build on it. And
Mm-hmm.
because of that, we were able to build our solutions very quickly, iterate on them, and launch them
Mm-hmm.
to the market as well. So that was big for us. That was a huge advantage that both of us are like literate in terms of development like that, and we were able to
Mm-hmm.
continue that on our next MVP. In fact, in B2B, in fact, our backend in the very early stages, even with 10,000, when we distributed 10,000 samples, was just a Google Sheets bundled with
Right.
API, like and
Mhm.
we think,
Right.
and one of our key hiring practice back in the day was talking to people who understands how capable Google Sheets can be, like understanding
Mm-hmm.
how people perceive Google Sheets, because engineers tend to be not really empathetic towards or understanding of how Google Sheets can be a good backend. We have a lot of love for no code.
Okay.
After this we went out, we met a few investors. We were fortunate enough to meet like Chandigarh Angels Network upfront. They put us, they gave us a little, they were able to introduce us during their event Cannibal. We got some stage presence over there. We pitched to a bunch of investors, right? And we got some media coverage for ourselves. We were featured on the
Mm-hmm.
Chandigarh Times. That was huge for us. And a
Right.
few months that Sneh got featured on Outlook Business, that was nice for us. Those That was an incremental growth that we were able to witness. Midway during our fundraising journey, we with this media that we were able to get, we had a bunch of customers calling us. People got to know about us, and we had customers reaching out to us, and
Mm.
we decided to partner up with two of those customers. Again, we wanted to partner with both, but those two were the ones who were able to take and understand everything that we were doing and agreed to do campaigns. And
Right.
we stopped our fundraising journey then, and we focused on serving these customers again. And these
Okay.
customers were able to help us. We were able to like expand our company all the way to Bombay. Just We were just Delhi based then, and we were able to expand our operations to Bombay as well. And beyond that, we were able to grow our technology further. Like now we shifted from being no code to being a little bit more programming driven, but now we also have the maturity.
Little bit more. We built a SaaS platform.
Yeah. So since then, we catered to these clients, and
Right.
we also like decided that instead of focusing on small and medium businesses for product sampling, we would focus on enterprise clients. uh,
Absolutely.
and
Mm-hmm.
we built our full-fledged proper SaaS platform
Mm-hmm.
now. And and then coronavirus has happened. So but like even since then, we've been able to build our platform much more like add a lot of sophistication to our platform. and
Absolutely.
and now we are heading towards the next phase of our journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like, this is a detailed breakdown of our journey that spans about close to 18 plus months.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Sneh, is there anything that you would like to add to this?
Adding to this, I think there has been like really good iterations that we've been able to observe, and mostly learning and then redeveloping and further iterating. That has been our key. That has been the reason why we've been able to further develop into this offering. Um,
Mm.
very The fact that our entire team was able to take criticism about a product, whatever we've built, say after a little time, you realize Google Sheets is not gonna help you with large size campaigns. We were able to iterate through them, and we were like, okay, now is the time to say goodbye to that, and we have to build like strong backend now. So a lot of
Right.
things, I understanding that things have to evolve with a period of time, and with the with while you are looking to serve different kinds of clients as well. We have to evolve. That has been, I think, a really important part of us growing into what we've been able to develop right now.
uh,
So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and
it,
Sneh, would you like to talk about how revenue and ads to family support and stuff like that? Yeah, you know,
Why not, please?
yeah,
Absolutely. So, revenue, the fact that even when we started out, we were. I think I would like to call ourselves absolutely noobs. We were just very excited bunch of kids, and we're just like, what, let's do this. It sounds exciting, and let's do this. So we did that, but fortunately, we were lucky that we pitched to a couple of companies, and they were also ready to support us, and not just support, they were ready to pay for that kind of service. And while we were at things, while we were at the campaign, we are our first campaign where we were just handing out the samples on our own. And we were like, what, 7 people operation, and covering
Mm-hmm.
50 colleges back to back, यहाँ जाना है फिर वहाँ जाना है, सामान लेके खुद ही जाना है, and everything. Doing all of those things on our own just made us realize that what kind of a hefty operation this is. And companies that who are doing larger size campaigns, this was just a 10,000 samples distribution. Companies who are looking to execute large size campaigns require so many more people. uh,
Right.
there has been a lot of those learnings, but then again, revenue has been like a really good motivation as well. There are people out there who are looking for this offering, and there are people who are also looking for innovation in this offering. I mean, right now, even if there is a we are offering an offline sampling distribution, people are still like, what, I think this is good. So companies are looking for that, and companies are ready to pay
Mm-hmm.
for that. So then why not
Mm-hmm.
make it better and make it much more efficient, so that they, whatever they invest in, gets the best output,
Mm-hmm.
right? And throughout
Right.
our journey we've been able to make revenues. Never had a campaign where people were not paying us. So that has been like a really a fortunate event throughout our journey. We have always had paid clients, and really supportive as well. I love all our clients. They've been absolutely
Definitely, definitely.
absolutely supportive. Yeah, yeah, to the developments and everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's quite an interesting story in terms of clients. If I see and the kind of business that you've picked up, that's one hell of an observation from 24/7, and then starting a complete business out of it. I
oh
would
yes,
say,
yeah.
okay,
Absolutely.
but yeah, this is the business story that is definitely interesting, and which for which I have a lot of questions. But before the business story, there are some stories which I really want to know and I want to have. First of all, like, how did you guys meet, and how did this business? Well, I know that this business idea came
Right.
from 24/7, but then you guys are probably from different fields, and how did you guys meet, and how did that thing align? Okay, yes, we can work together.
Yeah,
How did
absolutely.
that happen? So,
So,
what's the story behind that?
yeah, so we have been friends from college. Ever since we were in college, we used to hang out, getting drunk together and stuff. So so that was our college times. But at the same time, as college students, we were also very aspirational, and we were as I mean, as students, we were very we were like, we have a direction. We were very direction
Okay.
focused. Konark wanted to be an entrepreneur. I had my ideas as well. I was like, I want to have like a I was actually into more inclined towards social entrepreneurship. I did
Okay.
contribute a little to that as well. And then I had my ideas, I want to start like a left-handed pen company and stuff like that. So we,
Mhm.
as we were I think we just had shared like a similar kind of vision, where we were able to talk ideas to each other even when we were in college. The ideas that did not actually become reality, but still, we had that kind of an equation where we could discuss ideas and you know come up with like pros and cons and stuff like that. So
100%.
we also, in fact, while we were in college, we also tried to write a book about
Oh yes,
how
yes,
to.
yes.
Yeah. So I mean, since I think we share this equation, both of our parents have been really supportive. So we wanted to write a book about how to raise good parents.
So
We
Sneh,
were like,
I should add a little bit of perspective
okay,
into
sure,
that story. What happened was that back in college, like there are we had all these friends who
right,
I think one of the common shared experience we had was that we had friends who were not comfortable talking and sharing their lives with their parents, and
Right.
we realized how they were willing to jeopardize their well-being
Mm.
uh, in
Right.
exchange of not communicating to their parents. And we just were even if things were good or bad,
right,
we I think as two people, one thing that Sneh and me shared was we were still always communicating with our parents. and
yeah,
and Sneh had a friend who had a little bit of trouble quitting smoking back then, and
Okay.
she was not able to talk to her parents properly. And we were trying to think of how do we we were trying to talk about the issue. So in that process we thought we should write a book probably about how to raise your parents. And that was essentially a bit of an idea that we came up with, and we were about to execute on it. We thought that okay, this is a book that we'll write, and that is
yeah.
the journey. That is something that we were going to do, which we didn't do back then.
We
But
did
that
not do, because I think college may that also happens, that your exams all of a sudden uh, start, and you now the ideas cannot really go forward. So exams have been like a hurdle with startups. But then again, when
They
we
have always been in hurdle, I would say. Every 3 4 months there was a heart attack. Okay,
yeah
फिर से आ गया ये मुसीबत.
oh shit, yeah, I mean, like back in college I've had like 2 3 startups back in college as well. and
Right.
and like one of the biggest problem with startups in college is, like, let's suppose you get a startup idea when college opens sometime around August September,
yeah
and by
Right.
the time you start to even mature the idea a little bit, your pre semester, like first internals. I was an engineering college student, so like first internals will come in. Okay, then you get a little bit of time, then practicals will come in, and by the time the final
Mhm.
semester exams happen, everybody's exhausted, and now you want to like relax for a little while. So I think college semester setup like tends to like break your ideas and break a lot of small college startups a lot of times. Yeah,
It does.
Right,
yeah.
right,
It's
right.
not
And
conducive. Yeah.
I can understand and I can completely agree to that. I mean, I can agree to, especially Konark, with you on this, on all the levels for this. Completely. Okay. So, I don't know because if you know this or not, because I'm also an engineer, so that is why I can relate to this.
Engineers share
Okay.
same kind of journey.
Oh, that is 100%. So like that is just something so insane. Like we've been able to notice across whenever we are trying to hire across the board, a lot of
Uh,
engineers really share a very similar perspective of their college lives. In
Yeah.
fact, like college students who did not go to an IIT technically happen to have a really similar kind of fears and similar kind of
I know.
insecurities and everything around it. So yeah, college students
Mhm.
like engineers do have a lot of similarities in their shared
Yeah.
experiences. I totally agree.
Right, right, right. Okay, so let's start diving deeper into this journey. And now we know that how you guys met and how did this idea seed came into your mind. Okay, now when this idea seed came, you told us that you started with the sample product when you went to the Polka bakery, and then you decided, okay, let's do this thing from when you started getting more numbers from that phone call
Yeah, that
idea.
was the research. That was the research phase.
Yeah.
That was the app from after your research phase.
Yeah,
So you told us that you guys started with an app,
Hmm.
yeah.
and then you started partnering with brands, and these brands were ready to pay you. So, and also later in the story also you told us that you guys have been following a no code approach.
Hmm.
So when I try to link these couple of things, there the things that comes up is that even when you try to follow no code approach, everything's paid. So how did you guys pay for the app? Was it your Did you guys literally bootstrap it, and unless you had clients, they were ready to pay?
Mhm.
And how was your money management thing? How did you guys start with this thing? Did you take it from your parents? Was it a loan, bank loan? What was it like?
Right.
Sneh,
Um, we, I mean, like I mentioned, fortunately, we had paid clients, but at the same time, we did have some investment from the parents. Konark's parents
Mm-hmm.
have been really supportive in contributing in the start, but we did not have a huge expense. We were still, developing things, and like I mentioned, we had an app, right? So we had
Mm-hmm.
one of our partners as well back then. He was a team member, left,
Okay.
yeah, but yeah, he used to develop our apps.
I
But
mean, to kind of just to sorry, Sneh, I think I'll just
yes,
add
yes,
on
please.
add on one of the things like to the structure. We had a very frugal mindset, right? I think they
Mm-hmm.
would
Mm-hmm.
definitely second me on this.
Right.
We were working out of my room, right? And everybody who I invited to like help me out with were essentially college juniors
Mm-hmm.
right from the gate. So, like a lot of people, we had formed support around us, and Sneh had her people who would support us, and we were like super frugal about everything, right? So, and super lean in our approach as well. So, while we had some cash support at all points in
Mm-hmm.
time, coming through my family as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had, I asked one of my friends, if he could help me, with the mobile application. He gladly agreed to help us out with it, and like because he was just so excited to just help us out on the idea. And the other thing was,
Right.
we also help them make their life journey simple by let's say like if in an app you want to collect data from people instead of building the whole chat interface, data collection interface. What if you just utilize the type form? It already comes with
Right.
UI and whatnot, and you can embed it with branding for free for a while. And whenever you launch, it'll cost $72, right? For the let's say the highest
Mm-hmm.
package or something like that. I mean, I could be a little wrong about that, subscription pricing. So,
No
and
worries.
like $62 is not a lot when you're trying to just launch. And let's say
Mm-hmm.
the other costs that we had were in terms of a G Suite package that we had,
Right.
and
Right.
there was a domain cost and hosting cost, but rest of our
Right.
costs were negligent. We were not spending on anything else. outside of this. And we had a lot of support. We were able to build in a lot of support, and yeah, that definitely did drive us a lot in that did help us kickstart it in a nice way. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, okay, okay. That's nice. That's nice. Okay, so when you guys even started, and then you told us that you started partnering with brands, and even brands were ready to pay you, even though you guys were really starting out without any good prior experience or good clientele to support you as a company.
Hmm.
So, what was this closing deal experience like? Just gate crashing, or maybe even finding an appointment and telling them that we want to do this for you. And I don't know if you guys even asked them for money or not, if they themselves just said ki we're gonna be gracious on you and we'll pay you. So what was this experience like?
Yeah.
These experiences have been since we were like completely new to the industry. We
Haha.
started. We have done it all. Like we have cold called people, found their
Mhm.
contact details via LinkedIn, and then got in touch with them. Made a pitch, phone call हो गया, उसके बाद proposal भेज दिया. Very traditional way. Also crash
Right,
offices as well. That's also something we've done. Ki chalo, let's meet them at the office only. We'll go to the office, say a company, and then we'll be like, who's the marketing manager? We want to meet them.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've done that, and then interaction, and of course, like we've learned from our experience. We've had like our very noob meetings as well. Um,
Hmm.
and कि जहाँ पे हमें client बता रहे हैं कि no, no, this is not how it's supposed to be done, and
Yeah. Yeah.
so there has been a lot of those interactions. उसी के साथ हम लोगों ने सीखा है.
Yeah.
So tell me about that very first a client that you closed, and for which you just told us, that you guys were running between the colleges. So tell me your experience with the first client. How was that experience? Because that is going to tell me something really good.
Okay. So I think because I took the sales calls,
Yeah, yeah.
and
हाँ जी.
I've been like, so that's my side of things. And what and Sneh is like, always be there on it. What happened on the first client call, for us, like we had the strategy on the first box. We were able to connect with, we use LinkedIn a lot, right? We figured out how to
Right,
use LinkedIn to our advantage, and so we were able to figure out about the founder of Anmol Industries in North India, and
right,
we were able to connect with them, and we were able to pitch them what we are offering, and
right.
and the man was like really really positive right from the gates. Of course, our pricing was all back. I'll tell you that. Like when we started out,
Okay,
our pricing model was completely non-functional to say the least. Like
Yeah.
it was beyond. It did not have a lot of basis to it, and we did not really
okay,
deeply think or work on it, right? So.
okay.
Uh, but like the other person, instead of like completely shutting us down, they negotiated
Mm-hmm.
with us and they offered to pay a different price for our offering. And we did know what our expenses were. So our basic goal
Hmm.
was to just make expenses plus whatever comes our way, right?
Right,
So
right,
we cold called, and then we were, then we cold call, and then they referred us to somebody within their team, and then we were
right.
able to reach out to them. And once we reached out to them, the person like was acceptive, warm and acceptive of what we had to offer.
Mm-hmm.
That was nice for us, and ultimately they accepted. Like so, Anwal accepted our proposal and agreed to partner just one day before, I think, Choti Diwali in 2017. Uh,
Dhanteras.
yeah, Dhanteras. so
Wow.
and that was it was just simple. It was just like, this is what we're offering, and uh, and this is what our pricing is. There was a little bit of negotiation, and of course the
Mm-hmm.
understanding was there. And they were able to, like our benefits probably made sense to them of our using our offering or using our platform, and
Mm-hmm.
that enabled. And I think probably the entire identity that some companies also tend to support entrepreneurs,
Hmm.
right at the gates. So I think it's definitely that company a culture where I think Anmol was generous enough to look at youngsters and be like, okay, these people are trying to do something for the FMCG industry, and this
Hmm.
much support will not be too much for them. And that was just intense for us. Like we remember getting our first check and going like, okay, fuck, now the idea is real. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was Another so yeah, this was it for us. It was about like taking the products, उसके पीछे number लिखा हुआ है तो call कर लिया. Found the
Uh,
number on LinkedIn, using Lucia
uh,
here and there. Finding email addresses. I mean,
right.
I totally remember one more experience. Like I called the founder of Sleepy Owl accidentally
Okay.
on a Sunday morning. We did not know that it was Sunday because we were just working hard. We called the founder of
Okay.
Sleepy Owl on a Sunday morning, and the guy cold call. It was a cold call. He did not know us, of course. So he took the call,
Right.
and he was like, "Do you think this is the right time to talk?" And yeah, I mean, that he was completely right. There was no time to call somebody, But like so, we were okay with rejections. So rejections were nothing,
Right.
not personal to us to begin with. We were
Right.
like, okay, we're just trying to get this off the ground. We will accept as many rejections as, because you have to be right a few times. You
Right.
don't have to be right all the time. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that was an important perspective that helped us sail through. That allows us to do sail. In fact, it's still
Absolutely, man.
very much not different. It's just a little bit more mature, a little bit more
Mm-hmm.
sophisticated. But this
Yeah.
is still a part of our DNA. Yeah.
Okay. So did you close Sleepy Owl that day or some
No,
other
no,
day?
we have not closely pure even today. We
Exactly.
did not reach out to them, and we've not been able to partner. We definitely wish to partner with them,
Uh-huh.
but we've been really focused on iterating, and we can't, we're not always doing as many campaigns as we can, because
Mm-hmm.
for us, what matters truly is that we want to put out a good offering. We want to build a good
Right.
offering that makes relevant sense to people who are buying it, and
Right.
uh, you know that's just how we tend to move on. So we did not, after that campaign, in fact, we didn't even pitch Sleepy Owl again, because we were just not like, in the last year, we made, like, I think practically two pitches, and yeah, we were able to close, like, that was everything else was just inbound for us. uh,
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay, that's great. Okay, one more thing from this Anmol story. Since you guys were not, you didn't have a good basis for your pricing. So was the pricing overcoat or undercoat?
Overcoat, massively over.
Overcoat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Okay, so guys, moving on. I'm gonna tell that like when you partnered this thing and things started happening, you started getting results, and then you told us that you understood the study of the analytics that the application that you guys had, and then you decided to have your first pivot on the model and get to the chatbot. Okay, so first of all, what I want to know is, at that point of time, did you really know about what pivoting is? And if you didn't, so what was that mindset like? Okay, I'm gonna change this model. Is this gonna be beneficial or not? Or will this work in our benefits, or is it gonna take a backseat, backfire, or anything like that? So what was the mindset at that point of time?
I think Konark would agree with me on this. That we have. It was not about pivoting. It was never about changing the business model or anything. It was always about doing what people or what clients would like to buy, or what would actually add value. We were always like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
what are the features, or what are the use cases of our or of our offering right now. And we have always
Mm-hmm.
iterated on that कि यार इसमें ना डेटा की पॉसिबिलिटी हो जानी चाहिए. हाउ विल वी गेट कंज्यूमर इनसाइट्स, उसके बाद वे लाइक कि यार इसमें ना स्केलेबिलिटी होनी जरूरी है, बिकॉज मैनुअल लेबर बहुत है. And these are
Mm-hmm.
the things that we've always built upon, without thinking whether
Right.
it's a pivot or not. It's just like, okay, a client, an FMCG brand needs this offering, but how will they make the
Mm-hmm.
best out of it, and how will we give them the best so that they have a maximum ROI, right?
So
We've
true.
always built on that.
Yeah.
And with this mindset, we've been able to come down key. Okay, this is a scalable, a very well articulated, a very well digitized platform that that makes somebody's job easy. You have to be able to
Right.
solve a problem, and that is the mindset that we've always worked on, that whether it solves a problem or not,
Yeah.
always ask ourselves this question ki yaar Kunak, are we actually solving a problem or not, or are we just burdening the client ki yaar tum ye bhi kar lo, wo bhi kar lo, ye bhi kar lo, wo bhi kar lo,
True.
not giving them too much work to do, and actually solving their problem. And if
Yeah.
that is what our business is doing, then we're happy. And we're
Yeah.
going to do this, we're actually, I mean, even today now, we're launching very soon and developing every
Mm-hmm.
day development. There is a development day, but even from now onwards, or even going ahead, we are always going to be
Mm-hmm.
developing things that are actually solving a problem. It is
Mm-hmm.
we don't care if it's whatever it's called, whatever is the
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
To add to what Sneh said,
Mm-hmm.
we did not call it a pivot as such, because, and in fact,
Mm-hmm.
we had an investor meeting where the investor itself told us, what a good way to tell your story would be to say that this happened and then you pivoted. So that's where we started to understand, okay, so what we did, so that's how you narrate the story of what we did for us.
Right,
And
right.
I think improvement and iteration are just obvious things. Like, if you wear a shoe at a shoe shop and it doesn't fit you
Mm-hmm.
well, you ask for a better size of shoe, right? And I think
Right,
that's just iteration has to be a very natural thing. It's a very natural and a very obvious thing to us. We think that your offering has to just get better over a period of time, right?
right,
So,
right,
and,
right.
and your offering has to keep making more sense, and it has to be more in line with the client's incentives. Like, it has to be whoever you're solving the problem for, their problem should get solved in the best possible way. So, and
Mm-hmm.
that has been our entire understanding of iteration and pivoting. Is what I would say. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, okay, I get it. So, guys, you told us that that after this chatbot integration, you got in more brands to partner with you, and apparently, I don't know why. I don't personally even know if this is a reality or not. But when I talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, sometimes it seems like partnering with delivery is kind of an achievement for a lot of people. So I don't know if this is true or not. But what I want to ask from this part, how did partnering with delivery actually add to the company, and you know what was this partnering costly for you? Does this cost a lot to the company or you in terms of revenue, if I talk about it?
Hmm.
And what was the revenue scene like when this partnership happened? Because at this point, if I see in your journey, you guys were on the path of scaling Freestand up,
Hmm.
right? So give me some more insight about this point.
Right.
Delivery, delivery
So,
part.
with delivery partner, understanding that we are into a sampling business where we have to give away the sample to the customer. The motive is to reach out to the right audience and deliver the product to them. And how we started out, we were manually distributing the product sample. Thought ki having a digital engagement with them on the basis of, say, a chatbot or like even क्या बोलते हैं, mobile app, right? Thought कि
Mm-hmm.
okay, digital connection तो है brand के customer के साथ brand का, right? We built on that, and then we were having manual operations, handing out the product samples on our own. So
Mm-hmm.
partnering with delivery was changing or like an evolution on our offering, was because it allowed us to deliver the product samples to the places of these customers. मतलब directly घर चला जाएगा. So that drives a lot of comfort and a lot of scale. Now
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
e-commerce model, like delivering the product to somebody's place, can be scaled
Mm-hmm.
throughout the country and across the globe even,
True.
right?
True.
So
Right.
that
Yeah.
model itself is a very scalable model. And um, so
So
the partnering with them was allowed us to
Yeah.
build
Yeah.
on the scale of the offering.
Yeah.
But on revenue side, so as so the fact that we've been logical about the fact that, okay, if there is a cost, then that adds to the
mhm,
price, right? So
right.
if there was cost that was incurred on the e-commerce, on the delivery, right, then
Mhm,
there was a price that we were able to charge the clients as well, because that is a enhancement in the offering. So revenue
right.
accordingly changed. The when we sort of realized, we built further on the revenue model. By this time, when we were
Mhm,
evolving our technology to this phase, we had
mhm,
certain understanding कि यार अगर cost बढ़ गया तो वो भी बढ़ना चाहिए, क्या बोलते हैं, price भी
right.
Yeah.
बढ़ेगा ही साथ साथ. So
Yeah.
then that thing came very naturally, that the since we are offering this, the price already increases. So revenue of course short according to this.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, of course, cost also did. And revenue, and say, I mean, you could say the margin that we were able to charge, we were able to make, was still good.
Yeah.
So
So, like
Okay.
one more thing about the delivery. There are two more things, in fact, about the
yes,
delivery partnership. In terms of how it was
Right.
to partner with them, it was a very swift experience. Like the partnering experience with them was amazing. Number one, I would rave about that. Okay.
Okay.
And the other thing was that their support staff was really kind to us in the beginning. When it was like, okay, how do you use your platform? They were there for us. And one of the other major things was they taught us how to pack a sample for delivering to a doorstep, right? So we had our own
Okay.
packaging done then. And in fact, the
Right.
like, okay, so one aspect of the story that I must add now, because you questioned about delivery, was that we had a
Right.
local Delhi delivery vendor. It was like, I think, 3 hour
Uh-huh.
delivery or 4 hour delivery. Okay, and we
Right.
partnered with them with on our offering, and they were able to definitely offer us a much lower pricing
Right.
compared to delivery back then. Somehow
Mm-hmm.
turned out to be that like 4 hour delivery was still in its nuances, and I'm sure they've improved like much more now. But they were not like our operation the way we intended with them did not happen, right? And the timeline for
Mm-hmm.
the campaign extended all of a sudden. So like it was a very quick reaction that we had to make in terms of, okay, we
Mm-hmm.
need a new delivery vendor. This is not working out right now.
Right.
uh, how did we
Right.
do it? We partnered with delivery. It was like, I think like I think a 6 to 8 hour time duration in which we were able to successfully partner, negotiated well with them.
Okay.
They were nice enough to offer us a decent pricing as well. I'll definitely say that. And once that happened, in terms of a partnership, they were able to guide us through the whole process. Plus, they were amazing enough to get us back on the timeline, because their fulfillment speed is just that much high. They just happen to have the required support as a company to
Mm-hmm.
take on any load at any point of time. So there was that. So that was amazing. That was the beautiful thing. And other thing was that partnering with delivery has an amazing technology stack and an API interface that they have built. So growing further, we were able to, like, when we became a little bit more tech, when we increased the amount of code in our technology, programming in our
Mm-hmm.
technology, their API came in handy in introducing a lot of new automations as well. So that's the contribution that a good delivery partner made to our offering. And of course, with the experience with delivery, we've been able to utilize those same principles in partnering with DTDC as well, and who have been also an amazing delivery partner for us throughout this year. So I think, yeah, like, I
Okay.
think there's a lot of learning in that process of delivering one package from your house to your customer's house. And I think delivery stands out because they do like really guide you very well with a lot of empathy throughout that process. And I think
Okay.
that's why it stands out for a lot of entrepreneurs.
absolutely.
In that case, I wanna say something. Any delivery guy, I'm sorry, any delivery guy who's listening to this, you've got a on-spot, unscripted testimonial for your company. Do use it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, guys. So moving on. Okay, so first of all, just answer the short question. Are you guys still into B2C or is it only B2B?
We are full-fledged B2B SaaS platform now.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So now, on this very note, I want to talk about this point where you told us that your third iteration was switching to B2B.
Hmm.
Right. So, I guess a lot of services platforms, and I have heard of like experienced this and observed this many times. It happens like this is actually like starting small, where you start, going to the consumer, and then you decide, okay, we need to play it big, and that is when the business start coming, and you switch to a B2B.
Right.
Right. So, what was this switch like? And, what was the mindset then? And what were the major thoughts? Was it scalability? Was it revenue? Was it, growing the company in terms, in any and every terms, or what was it like? And did this scare you in any manner? Ki, this probably might fall or not fall, or what was it like?
Okay.
Scary part, mm, not so much. I think we were not scared, but I think we were able to. We were actually optimistic because we were able to find a direction here. All of a sudden, when you realize that you know what this works and this helps the best in the B2B space, so we were able to make that shift happen, and that's what I think we were optimistic about. That if it requires you to be a B2B business, then that's what it is, right? So that was not
Mm-hmm.
scary, but of course, these things are. I mean, getting nervous or getting scared is a very situational thing. It happens for a little bit and then you sort of move on, right? You
And
you find your
I think,
Mm,
yes,
yeah.
I think Sarthak, the way you framed your question in that you asked, we were shifting from B to C to B
Yes.
to B.
right,
Like so, but we were shifting from B to C, right? So we had both the sides of the coin. Like we were a B to B to C
right.
company. So we were already serving the brands, but the
Hmm.
customer
Mm-hmm.
base was ours, right? And
Okay,
that would
okay.
and that was the model. So we were still serving the brands and reaching out to the customers. So the
Right.
shift in terms of B to C to B2B SMB was primarily in direction that to just like kind of give the end audience acquired by giving distributing a sample directly to the brand
Mm-hmm.
itself, so that they're able to probably increase their ROI, have a better interaction, get the direct power of customer love towards coming through to them, right? And so that was the shift for us. And I think here Paul Graham or Michael Sabel, I think, has a very great quote, like product market fit is when your product is selling like hotcakes and there is the demand that you cannot fulfill. That's product market fit according to them.
Right.
And so we just noticed and realized that this is a decision we took in to achieve product market fit. So definitely, that's how we thought about it.
That's nice, and I really like that quote. I remember hearing that somewhere, but I don't remember. But yeah, I really love that. Okay, so guys, as you told us that you guys went on to meet the investor at Chandigarh, and he referred you for their event, and then you got featured also. So, first of all, I want to know that do you guys have any investment with you, or is it still now it's on like the Bootstrap has paid its results, and you guys are able to manage with the revenue that you have?
Okay. Sneh, should I answer this one?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So we we've had like basic revenue fueling most
Mm-hmm.
of our growth. There has been
Mm-hmm.
support coming from my family's side in terms of basic infrastructure and some bill payments here and there as well. But we've not raised a
Right.
seed investment right now, and
Okay.
we have completely changed to like from B2B SMB. We were
Mm.
serving just small and medium businesses to now we're shifting to
Right.
serving large enterprises, right?
Right.
And in that space we are yet to drive any like we've not yet had like a large enterprise collaboration yet coming our way. So we are still looking to raise a seed
Mm-hmm.
round of funding, and but we
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll be relaunching that. We stopped raising our seed round of funding when we got a couple of clients
Mm-hmm.
in the process of our fundraising, because I think client money is always better than better to have on your side. So yeah, so like we've had like friends and family investment, to answer your question. That is what has supported us
Okay.
through a decent part of our journey.
Okay. I get it. I get it. So, adding to this part, see, pitching an investor is never an easy task. Okay, and I guess you had at least one or two experiences out there in terms of if I look at the Chandigarh picture. So, what did that experience teach you, and how are you gonna utilize it in your further upcoming pitches? I want tell me something about that.
Absolutely. I think there have been a lot of learnings while we were interacting with the investors. Um, the most important learning I think every founder should understand is that
Mm-hmm.
you're asking for money. You have a vision and you're asking for money. Now you need to be very very focused. I mean, I think I am very conservative in understanding, or I understand that to the very core, that if I'm asking somebody for their money, direct or indirect,
Mm-hmm.
I am very sure that I need this money and I am going to use this money very very uh, properly, right? I mean, I've seen this happening like a lot of times. I don't want to name any person or anything here, but this has happened
Mm-hmm.
for Indian investors as well, that sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it has happened like a lot of times, in fact, that startups have been invested and then the founders have gotten completely they're just like now gone crazy and like spending money wherever, or without thinking much.
Like didn't do justice. Yeah.
They did not do enough justice to the investment that somebody has put faith forward into your business and
Mm-hmm.
into your vision. So that is really really important for you to understand. And I mean, we personally value that like a lot. I mean, we're very cautious about the fact that we are we're very certain that we need this money and we want to use this money in the best possible way. So that's very important. Besides that, the learnings have been that what are I mean, just
Yeah.
being empathetic. I think the biggest
I think,
understanding.
yeah, just to add to,
Yes, please. Yes.
on the empathetic front,
Yeah.
to add to Sneh, one of the most important learnings, like hands down, the most important learning we've had is
Mm-hmm.
proper communications. Like even Warren Buffett says it's like, number one skill that you can add to grow your wealth is communication. And, it was never more obvious to us, because no, you cannot, every investor is not an expert in every field, right? So you cannot expect them to know everything to a knowledge that to with the knowledge that you might have on your side, right? So to be able to
Right.
properly communicate what you're trying to do in the most lean and simplistic format is the most
Mm-hmm.
important thing. Like I think we were not able to do the best of the jobs to our abilities when we went
Mm-hmm.
out to pitch in the first place, right? We
Mm-hmm.
did a decent job at it, right? And I am pretty sure
Right.
that like the best of the founders who've been able to raise funding are also definitely the founders who have great communication skills, and that does not mean the ability to speak well. That's different.
Mm-hmm.
Communications would mean your ability to make somebody understand what you do. And
Mm-hmm.
that was one major learning. And the other learnings we've had were, in terms of just like basic hygiene on a lot of different fronts. Let's say, like le- yeah, essentially, like, like having a demo would be a helpful thing, when you go out to raise funding. And
Mm-hmm.
having a demo essentially helps with communications only. So I think every single learning beyond communications is just something that supplements your communication. So like communication and supplements of communications are is what you learn when you communicate with, you have conversations with investors. And the other thing that you learn with
Mm-hmm.
investors is like, using Google Calendar can make you really, really productive a lot of times. So like yeah, like I think, we're not big calendar users, but when we had our conversations with investors, Google Calendar became like a central destination to see how the day is structured, because there would be calendar invites
Right.
for follow up conversations and everything. Uh,
Right.
so,
Right.
so definitely there was that for us, and yes, essentially, yeah. So that has been our major learning with an investor up until.
So if I try to summarize it and if I look at it, this is pretty obvious to every entrepreneur who wants to seek investment is that you need to communicate and you need to win the trust and everything. But with that said, learning everything from what Sneh has conveyed, it becomes very, very important that you don't lose yourself and use that money in the most effective manner to grow the business, but not your personal wealth.
Absolutely.
Would that be right?
100%. Like a personal wealth growth should be a resultant of the business doing well.
Yeah, the business should
Right.
do well. The focus has to be that it allows your business to grow.
Yeah.
Right, right. Perfect, perfect. Okay, so guys, now I have a question for both of you in terms of looking at the on the partnership front. And since you guys also told us that there's another co-founder, I guess, that has joined in recently in terms of the development part, if I'm not wrong to say that, and I remember correctly.
Yeah.
So the one thing that I want to ask is that definitely you guys said communication is necessary for the investors, but you know that in India, whenever we look at partnerships, there's a huge question out there: will this work?
Hmm.
And everything. And in terms of friendship, honestly, in terms of friendship, Konark, you being an engineer, you would definitely know this. Ki there are lots and lots of ideas that are about to kickstart in the college days in terms of for being an entrepreneur. कि दोस्ती यारी में चल जाएंगे, बना लेंगे, but they don't kickstart, and if they start, many times they fail. So what is that which keeps you both together, and and what is that? Because you guys are very, very young right now in terms of the company. Also, if I look at it, and not you guys like you guys are already very young. So what is that you guys have in mind that in the upcoming future, if so and so happens, this is how we're going to deal it, or what is your current strategy to deal with any of the problems so that you guys stay together, one, the company stays together, ego clashes doesn't happen, and everything works in the positive direction, nothing falls apart.
Right. Okay. There are too many things around it. The fact that I think so, as individuals, we have shared a very good equation since the beginning. There are
Mm-hmm.
conflicts, of course, with any collaboration or any two people or three people working together. There are things, sometimes you would believe in something and they don't. So that thing is very
Mm-hmm.
natural. It's just human behavior, right? Just that I think
Right.
we are very empathetic individuals in general, very understanding, and we have built a culture. So entire company, it's not just two or three of us, it's just everybody
Mm-hmm.
at our everybody at Freestand is very,
Mm-hmm.
very empathetic, and we do not have there is we do not have ego clashes. So fortunately
Oh
we've
yeah.
been yes. So we've been able to build a culture around the company that people are communicative. We talk
Mm-hmm.
amongst each other. We share our stress. We share our worries. Everything. But it's all done on a very positive note. If I am, I mean, in fact, I am the person who gets angry the most. But at the same time, I am very driven by love. So I love all of these people to all possible extents. I am very driven towards the company. I mean, I think the company is that has been my biggest commitment so far in life. Um, Freestand has been very close to my heart. So we just know that there is when you've committed to something, there's no going back. So we're at it, and that's just how we've built the culture.
Yeah, yeah. I think one of the biggest aspects of Freestand is the fact that we believe in the fact that product sampling is going to be a big
Mm-hmm.
thing, and even more than that, we believe in the fact that things in and operations across every single industry are going to get automated and digitized. So the number one principle is
Right.
the fact that we believe that whatever we are building in is going
Hmm.
to have a market fit at some point in time, like
Mm-hmm.
sooner than later, right? So,
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
and since we're already leading into this journey, right, as a startup into like one of the few first few people in the digital product sampling space, our passion is relentless. Like number one, and also there are like a lot of motivation factors that keep on happening when you are honest about what you're trying to do, right? Like we get family support, right? That is
Right.
we're very lucky to have that. We have
Mm-hmm.
family backing coming, allowing us to have some capital at our disposal to make clear out bills. That's very
Mm-hmm.
insanely lucky of us to have. We are lucky in our fair share. We have our fair share of luck in a lot of different ways, which allows us to be nice, and also our commitment to being a very empathetic company. Like empathy is one of our key values. We explain every single decision to every single team member of our company. We inform everybody why we are doing what we are doing. We try to, when we are interviewing, our interviews for even an intern's position last for like an hour plus a lot of times. We really invest in people. We really think that people are the most important entity in a company, right?
Right.
And we are very driven towards just making sure that okay, this person is non-egoistic, has the right set of beliefs about the world that are uh, non damaging to our culture, and essentially is able to bring in enough diversity of opinion and everything else. So we really and ego, like just like the fact that like we try and eliminate and work around ego issues. We do not let ego clashes become a thing. So, and plus,
Mm-hmm.
plus there's like a lot of openness in the company, like so everybody is always on the same page about most of the things. And I think that that is how we're able to stay motivated moving forward. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I get it. Okay, that's nice. That's nice point of view on empathy and something that which you have inculcated in your company. I really appreciate that. Coming forward, guys, if I ask you like which has been the biggest hiccup, because talking to many people now, like I'm so glad like now the time is coming where entrepreneurs don't really call failures failures, and this is like it's just a hurdle. So I'll call that only. So which is the biggest hurdle or hiccup that you faced in this journey of yours, How did you deal with it, and what was the learning that it gave you?
Biggest hurdle. Okay.
Right.
What is the biggest hurdle we face, Sneh?
To I think to our learning, I think I don't. I mean, so as per my understanding, the biggest hurdle we just talked about it has been people having the right people that you can work with is the most
Mm-hmm.
important asset that you can have in your company. Ideas evolve, things change, business models, propositions, everything changes. But people it's always the people who make it happen, and it's always the people who will make it the best journey of your life to the worst journey of your life, right? So investing in right people is the most important learning and has been the hiccup. So
Oh
the
yeah. Oh
biggest
yeah.
challenge,
Yeah.
that is what I think the entire uh,
Like I.
journey
Yeah.
starting from June 2017 to
Yeah.
up until now, we have had we faced certain issues, or have.
Yeah, like the second pivot we made to a chatbot with
Mm-hmm.
partnership with delivery.
Right,
That
right.
that campaign was just me and Sneh in the company, just two people, right? And
Okay.
like going on beyond that, and trying to build a team. Like I think it's really underrated how good teams are built. Like I don't think that's something that you can only learn with experience, and by
Mm-hmm.
building a good team, because like to find people who you gel with, and to find people who share your vision of working of, and like share your general vision about most things, is really hard. And building a team can be insanely hard, and I know this because from even coming from my college startups before this, like everybody right at the gates wants to work on something, because but then really they don't end up working on it. So not everybody has
Right.
the stamina to take on a startup journey, and to
Mm-hmm.
stomach the low salaries, and the extensive working hours that come with it, and all of those things. So to build a good startup team is insanely hard, and that is the biggest hurdle that we cross, and are still constantly crossing. Even now we have our hiring processes still on, and we like,
Mm-hmm.
even with our, as we grow, I'm pretty sure that like hiring for other senior roles in our company, and other whatever channel challenges that come to us will be like around people. Most challenges are around people, navigating through people and communicating your set of values to them in the right format. Yeah.
Right, right. So, I mean, listening to this, why do I have a feeling it can definitely be wrong? Okay, but it's like maybe some employer, some intern has left you with some sort of experience. Maybe he left, or you faced some issues. Did something happen? Is there a story behind it?
Okay.
Is there any story or instance?
Sneh,
If there is, then please tell us.
okay, awesome. So there is definitely a story around it. Sneh, do you want
Then I want to know that.
Sneh, do you want to take it?
No, you tell him.
Okay, okay. So, we when we launched out, we had these. So, like, I had all these college friends. I just called up right at the
Right.
beginning. I was like, "I'm going to do this, and come on and help me out. Like, I'm doing this and whatnot." And right at the gates. One of the things we
Mm.
had, with one of our uh, team members. Okay, now this is going.
Don't name them.
So I'll not name them. But what we had with that, before our mod partnership with, like, the box model, we were about to, we
Haha.
were about to partner with one more brand, a big brand, and
Okay.
take it.
Okay.
And we got an NDA from the client coming to our place and our office,
Okay.
and all of a sudden, like, this was just somebody, we had the equity conversation or some conversation with them upfront
Right.
about how
Right.
do we view our collaboration and how this discussion will go and whatnot. And
Haha.
this particular individual, held us like hostage to some developments around, and was like, okay, if you want me to continue, then give me this now. And and essentially how, and but we still continue to work with them beyond that. We were able to resolve it back then, and that was a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of a blip in our circuit. But eventually that individual ended up, like, influencing and affecting and impacting other people who were helping us and were much better, and probably would have been a part of our team as it
Mm-hmm.
evolved, but they went on to even kind of influence other people, and change their perspective about us in all which ways, and
Mm-hmm.
and acted in a little bit of an hostile way, that ways.
Mm-hmm.
And but we had one principle that we're not gonna give in to being bullied, right? We're not gonna get bullied by like our own team on a lot of,
Right.
like, for the wrong reasons, right? And
Right.
or like that, like, so that experience of, like, facing a crisis uh,
Mm-hmm.
coming like that was really really harsh for us, like, uh, and that definitely did put into perspective, like, the whole team
Mm-hmm.
angle. And the other angle was when Kavach joined us, right? Kavach was always a friend. Kavach was one of our friends who was with us at the beginning of the journey. Would have been a part of
Mm-hmm.
us, but he, due to some certain issues, family, internal, whatever, he had to join a company, Accenture, for a little while, and worked with them.
Right.
And once he left them, he came in, and he just started to work with us out of nowhere, and contributed, worked as hard as we do. Out of nowhere, like,
Wow.
when we needed the high code development support, he just
Uh-huh.
jumped in, hopped in, no salary, no expectations, just snacks. We do offer snacks. And
Okay.
and we and just hopped in just to started to work with us, and that just went
Uh-huh.
insane. And when we added the next team member, that was like a real
Mm-hmm.
proper fit in the company. you know uh,
Mm-hmm.
they were able to contribute to our ideas, and really connect with us in a very different way, and that felt amazing. Like, there was an adrenaline rush, and a good endorphin rush on every correct team member being added to the team, right? Somebody who makes your journeys in more enjoyable, somebody you want to hang out with, somebody you want to, like, relax and chill with. So,
Right.
as, like, knowing what bad feels like helped us really understand what good is worth, so in terms of team members. So
Absolutely.
so that that experience with, like, that early team member who, like, kind of made an internal hostility happen within the company, uh,
Mm-hmm.
really did influence us in realizing that, like, this is something to pay attention to, like, right, very
Okay.
much upfront. So yeah,
Okay, I get it. I get it. So this is the experience that I talk about, and this is the journey that teaches the most to us.
definitely.
Okay, moving on. Guys, if I talk to you, if I ask you that, are you guys money minded? So what is the answer that I'm gonna get? Are you guys money minded?
Absolutely money minded,
See, I
100%
think
money
the thing is that money minded originally, or like typically, or in a regular world, it's like considered, I don't know, negative or positive. But the thing is that what matters is that having an understanding, having an understanding of
Mm-hmm.
money and to manage money is the
Right.
important part, rather than just, I think money minded is just a very plain statement. Like, it's not, there is no zero
So
or one,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So, like, say, to add on to what you're
Yes.
saying, I think the problem with money-minded is it's a loose statement. Like, everybody, when I say money-minded, everybody has their own, personal reference point into the word and its meaning, right?
Right.
Right.
To us, what a rather better word that I would
Mm-hmm.
like to, I like to use in this statement, and of course, it's an adoption of some of the great VCs as well out there, is wealth creation.
Okay.
We are wealth creation focused because wealth creation is a net positive sum game, right? Like, the idea is, uh, if I can create wealth, right,
Mm-hmm.
I can also, it's not a net zero game in a way that if I can create wealth, you will not be able to create wealth. That's not the case. If
Right.
I can create wealth,
Right.
I might also drive you to create your own wealth, right? And so, in a way,
Right.
it is beneficial for everybody in the system, and the whole system can grow, and it forms very much the basis of capitalism in a big way, the free trade market and all those things, right? So, I think being money minded from a perspective of wealth is important. And I think,
Right.
having a positive outlook towards money is also super important, because if you're gonna despise money, then
Right.
money and wealth are not going to happen to you, right? and,
Right.
the rather other opinion we have of like the other angle with which some people might look at money mindedness happens to origin from like status. I think
Right.
from us from money as status, right? And I think the problem is that status is a net zero sum game, right? Like, so if for my status to increase, somebody's status has to
Right.
decrease, so the net status is will always be zero. And that is
Right.
and status is a bad game. Status driven, and I think, like, of course, Kunal Shah talks a lot about, like, wealth driven societies versus status driven societies on his Twitter
Right.
handle, and a lot of times, and all of those perspectives, definitely, I think, he is a bigger authority on this topic. From that perspective, I would say, and,
Mm-hmm.
he does make a lot of valid points, which I do agree with, and how they're made. And so I would say money mindedness, in a way, where you're focused on creating wealth for yourself and for everybody associated with you, enabling you in the journey, is a really good thing. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Perfect. 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 That's a very good explanation for money minded, because I know that it is a loose statement, and it is open to, and it is very subjective, and it is open to questioning from all the ends. So yes, that was the thing that I wanted to know, and I'm really glad to know this mindset behind you guys. Okay, so guys, everyone in the business faces some kind of problems, and there's some liking of the problems as well. So knowing the story, I just want to ask blatantly that what are out of these two problems, which one have you faced more? The no money problems or the more money problems? Because how you have handled that, I guess that is pretty evident. So which ones have you faced throughout or majorly?
Both, I think, in its own way. We face the no money problem and the more money problem, but we have had a more money problem for a very short duration of time. And
Okay, I'm I'm gonna call you guys lucky then.
so yeah, so like the no money problem we faced, uh,
Right,
it's not been like absolute no money, but there has
right,
been some money there. But yeah,
It's
uh,
a cost efficient wala problem.
it's a cost efficient. Yeah, like, so, whenever we are not doing campaigns and rather working on evolving our iterations, definitely that's when we run through our revenue or like profit earnings, right? So that definitely keeps us very much grounded through our developmental cycles, right? uh, Positive money problem we faced, when we had like a couple of brands partnering with us in a quick succession. So
right.
our more money problem ended us up in, ordering a lot of Swiggy snacks and food for the team. That was a more money problem. It's definitely a more money problem from a small startup perspective. I don't think it was definitely a
Right.
lot of money, even from, like, from a decent, like, it was not as much money, but that was our angle on more money.
I get it. I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so guys, if I ask you like every startup, since you're also a startup, and every startup has some struggle during some point of time. So at this current point of time, what is your struggle?
So there's a lot.
What are you majorly struggling with?
There is always struggle at all points of time in a startup's journey. How I
Right.
would feel
So
about it.
at the present time when we're discussing this podcast, what is the major struggle that you're going through? It could be anything, HR, hiring, operations,
It's it, it's
anything.
honestly about, like, we're on a new sales path, right? And the
Okay.
thing is that our new ticket price for our offering has increased a bit since, last time, and we are
Okay.
talking to a different kind of a client altogether, a giant
Mhm.
enterprise, right? And
Okay.
our struggle per se would be to, navigating through this experience, navigating through this operation per se, of like really making sense, really communicating well, and, like, marketing ourselves properly out there to them, and, just like setting ourselves up for, like, like, to be like able to acquire a decent customer out there would be one of our
Mhm.
biggest uh, current struggle per se that we are facing right now. And yeah, that is
Mhm.
that is our biggest struggle right now, hands down. I would say, like, I think Sneh would agree to this, most probably,
Yes,
or
yes, I agree. Instead, I would just call it a more challenging situation than a struggle, because
yeah.
I like to put things
Mhm.
that way. But yes, Konark is absolutely on point.
Anything you would like to add to this, Sneh?
Um, no, I think that's what I think the next challenge for us is. It's just much bigger. I mean, as you grow and as you learn your ways into your business, the challenges keep on. You know, the challenges
Oh, wait,
and
I
the kind of
realized.
challenges you are going to
Yeah,
face keep. Yes,
no, no, I had
yes.
another realization. Okay, okay, this is an important one.
Acha.
Okay, uh, when it
Okay.
comes to B2B enterprise startups, right? The other big struggle is the
Mm-hmm.
lack of content and education material on it. Like, quite honestly, you can find some of the best marketing tips and material out there for a B2C startup, right? I think even for a basic
Mm-hmm.
SaaS startup, like there are a lot of, there's a lot of content available in general on a lot of B2C startups, on a lot
Mm-hmm.
of general topics, right, out there that exist. On B2B,
Right.
on B2B enterprise
Right.
startups with high touch sales, that seems to be a little bit more under, represented by the content available on the internet, right? And the other thing would be just
Okay.
uh, advice, like, let's say investment advice and like a lot of entrepreneurs sharing their fundraising journeys in context to B2B enterprise, or just essentially that availability of learning material, I would put it like that, on these fronts is a little low. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that is someplace, like you go to YouTube, you type B2B sales, or you type like B2B
Mm-hmm.
enterprise material for from like a lot of different places. I think there are a very few videos, and a very I think there must be other books as well that I've not yet come across in my research right now, but from
Mm-hmm.
uh, like I've not
Mm-hmm.
been able to encounter it as often in a good way. So I would think that there should be probably more content that should uh, that it would be nice to have more content on this particular topic per se, and also from Indian context, because enterprises and B2B is very much a country specific topic as well a lot of times. So I think that is where I would like to think about. Yeah.
Okay, I can somewhere agree to this because even I have been matlab, I so already work in this sector and I do look at a lot of stuff in terms of content when it comes to business as well. So I can somewhere agree that yes, B2B sales and B2B enterprise sales is somewhere lacking. I I can definitely say something on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so guys, moving on, and I guess I'm almost done with my questions. So there's one thing that I want to ask is that if from your experience and from your journey, you want to give some tips and advice to our listeners, what would that be?
Okay. Snake.
Um, there is no one particular tip. I think it's just the journey is different for everybody. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but what I sincerely believe in is iterative building. I think it's very
Mm-hmm.
important that you're not going to get your product right in the first go. That does not happen. So
Right.
that just like dreaming for it कि अभी मेरा एक महीने में बन जाएगा और उसके बाद second month से I'm hitting like the road and stuff like that. That's just, I mean, you're lucky if that happens, but that does not happen usually. So being realistic is very
Right.
important in a business. So I think when you're starting out, it requires a lot of your commitment, right? It Entrepreneurship, this entire journey, it's just gonna change your life. So you have to be able to commit to it. For anybody who's like joining this journey or like thinking about starting a startup or have to be have to you have to realize that it's going to require a strong commitment. So when you're starting it out, just make sure you're ready for this kind of commitment. And besides that, just be ready for iterations and keep developing. Don't quit easy, because it requires you to be much more strong and mentally, physically, everything. You have to be ready for all the challenges you're going to face.
Yeah.
So that's,
Yeah.
I think,
Okay.
my big.
Anything add you want to add, Konark, to this?
Definitely. Like, I think, depending on who are the different listeners on this podcast, I will have advices for everybody. Okay. So
Wow.
Sure.
starting from right from delivery, I think give me more discount. And and moving on towards, like, let's say college entrepreneurs, college engineering college entrepreneurs, like, let's get a little less arrogant about investing in heavy programming technology right at the go, because it will require a lot of iterations. So how about going a little leaner in your approach? That would be nice, because that's something that I've observed across. Another thing, communications has to be the most important thing. Like, communication is something you have to consistently, day in day out, think about. I think that does become a significant advantage, because you're always pitching to, like, people who will work with you, investors and your customers. So, like, the better your communication is, the better everybody will be able to make connection and, sense out of what you are trying to do. uh, and yeah, like, when it comes to, let's say, investors or industry veterans, if they're also listening to this one, I would say there should be, like, it would be really appreciative if there could be more content coming from, and more honest experiences being shared by everyone. I'm sure everybody's sharing a lot already, but there could be a little bit more structure, and like a little bit more to guide through the journey of a young entrepreneur, because startups can be crazy, crazy hard. And no, startups are always crazy hard, and any help counts as like big help all the time. So
Absolutely. There is another thing I want to add to entrepreneurs who are starting out just now for the first time.
Right,
Um,
right.
I think a lot of times it happens that young entrepreneurs tend to not go for an idea just because they think it requires a lot of money. They have this in mind. What I'll have to do, I'll have to set up a team, I'll have to have like a website developer, I'll have to have this, I'll have to have that. So
well,
people before starting out their idea have already thought the kind of expense they'll have to incur before starting an idea, and that kills an innovation then and there, because right now they're thinking money is a problem. But you can actually execute a lot of ideas without fancying it out, or
yeah, yeah,
building a very fancy website, getting a high quality office or something. You can start your business right out of your right out of your room.
yeah,
And a lot of people don't realize that.
yeah,
So I sincerely want people to consider whether they actually need the kind of funding they are thinking in their head, that I need a lot of money to start
yeah,
out. You don't need a lot of money to just start your idea.
yeah,
Build something, and then yeah, maybe need, of course everybody needs money, but it's not a lot of money that you need to start out.
yeah. True,
So
Mm.
yeah.
absolutely.
I can completely understand and agree to that. And guys, I would say probably the truth has been said. Yes, the truth has been said, and Snake cannot be right anymore, because I guess I have heard a lot of people, talk about investment that needs to fall in and something. But guys, and adding to what Konark has been telling, that coding is not that much important. You can build upon it and do the iterations over the period of time. What really matters is that you need to start it off. uh just even if you want to build an online platform, be it a SaaS platform, you know how to code. It doesn't require money to really develop the platform. You have the softwares, you hosting and
Yeah,
website domains, and they're
yeah,
cheap as fuck now. You can buy anything.
yes, yes. Like, you can have your
I
website for
mean,
free on Webflow, man. Like, right off the gate.
right. You don't go out for drinks for 1 week. You have enough money to
So true,
host.
so true.
Absolutely, absolutely.
100%. Like, like a good domain name a lot of times is like $500, right?
Right,
A
right.
Webflow subscription will be like $12 to $15, and that allows you to make a some completely customizable website to its, like, like every single level. And like, there's a platform for everything. You want to make an app, there are no code platforms. Essentially, we live in a time when there is a no code platform for every single thing out there. So, I that's like, figure that out. In fact, I think, in a few days I do intend to also write about no code on my blog,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll post about it on my Twitter handle wherever I can, to probably share about my no code experience further.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if after listening to this, somebody, like, whenever this is out, probably, I'll ask Sarthak to, maybe if he would be kind enough to include a link to the blog or something.
I will
I-
definitely do
I'll
that.
definitely include write up a blog about it, and people could benefit from it. I'll also tag to, like, some of the industry legends, like maybe Ryan Hoover's blog on no code. He's the product hunt
Mm-hmm.
founder and stuff like that. So, a bunch of resources that could be really useful to kick off and make a product happen at the very early stage for basically zero investment. Yeah.
Perfect, perfect. And just to add on it, so being from the similar backgrounds, me and Konark, for engineers, I'm gonna say that you know इंजीनियरिंग में हम एक चीज समझ जाते हैं जुगाड़ एंड बस वो चीज शायद से हम लोग एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में अप्लाई करने में थोड़े डिले हो जाते हैं आई वुड से सो रादर जस्ट डोंट डिले देयर इज अ जुगाड़ फॉर एवरीथिंग for everything out there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You just need to find it out. So once you do it, you are on the path, creating your own business.
And by jugaad, you don't mean like like a shortcut. I'm pretty sure you mean like like a easier,
No,
simple
no,
way
no.
to do
There's
it. Smarter way
right,
to do it.
right,
Yeah.
right. No, no, no shortcuts,
Yeah.
please. I cannot recommend that because entrepreneurship has got no shortcuts whatsoever.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
With that said, as we move ahead, guys, we do this one thing that we ask our guest to recommend us another entrepreneur whom you think has a inspiring journey, and we can talk about them and learn from them. So, who is it that you gonna recommend to us?
Oh shit. Who do
I
we?
think, I think I have one recommendation. I would recommend Sairi Chahal from Shiros. I think I am really inspired by her journey. She's been like really strong as much as I know about her. I have the
Okay.
pleasure to meet her personally as well. I think she's a pleasure to speak to. I would really, I would really like if you take her interview.
100%.
Absolutely.
100.
Definitely. Anyone you wanna recommend,
I
Konark, from your part?
I think for me the top two are definitely like Sneh said, like Sairi Chahal has been like one of the better inspirations in the industry out there. But I think from just like this is my bias, I'd like to hear something coming from Naveen Tiwari, maybe the founder of InMobi, and
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. He's pioneered the ad tech space like in such a big way, and whenever I get to listen to anything coming from him, it's always nice and beneficial and inspirational in every which way. Yeah, those two would be.
That's great. That's great. In that case, I'll try my best that we have both of these guests on us, and once we interview them, I'll make sure that you guys have their links and so that you can listen to them and even let me know how it was and if they can inspire anyone and every one of us. That would be really great. With that said, as we move kya, we are almost there at the end of the podcast. So guys, this was Sneh and Konark with us from Freestand, and they've got a good journey out there. The way they started, the best part that I really like from the journey is that okay, I'm gonna say this thing from I guess रेड एफएम का था रेड एफएम पे एक कॉमेडी पार्ट आता है सोच कहीं भी आ सकती है शौचालय में भी ठीक है so with that quoting that thing I'm gonna say they literally founded out an idea 24/7
Yeah.
and the way they have executed it the way they have got this up and the way they're moving ahead is phenomenal and honestly, like Sneh is a LSR pass out, so I don't think so, or maybe I haven't heard of yet. I can be definitely wrong because मैंने सुना नहीं होगा कि मैंने गलती से ये बोल दिया कि no LSR pass out has done an entrepreneur career. I wouldn't say that at all. But yes, talking to Sneh, no coding background. Konark being an engineer, but he hasn't done any coding. Plus engineers को सबको पता है क्या scene होता है, so I wouldn't say ahead on that. So no code stuff, but still the business is on and running and they're growing day by day.
I mean, yeah, definitely. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Sarthak, for having us.
it
Yeah,
was
Same,
yeah, yeah,
pleasures are mine. I'm so thankful that you guys actually took out time on a Sunday and
yeah,
you had this chat. Thank you so much for coming
100%.
in.
no,
Thank you.
absolutely. It
Thanks
was
a
a
lot.
pleasure, man, being
Yeah.
here.
I think,
Thank
yeah, yeah. So I just realized Priyanka Gill, the PopExo founder, is an
Hmm.
LSR alumni as well.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah, it just hit me. That's the last thing.
that's why I said I wouldn't say that
Yeah,
because I know there would be someone probably I wouldn't be knowing as of now, but then there would definitely
There
be
are
someone.
there
yeah,
are a few very
def-
very special people. Yeah.
Right, right.
def-
So guys, thanks a lot. Thank you so much. Let this thing settle down. I'll look forward to seeing you guys soon, and I'll definitely meet you soon at the offices once.
thank,
Thank you so much for
Thank
thank
coming
you,
in.
thank you for having us here, man. It was really amazing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope that you're able to take back something insightful from this podcast and apply it in your life to be a better version of yourself and add to your Dhandhoni Soch. If you know someone whom you think should feature on my podcast and has a very inspiring entrepreneurial journey, then do drop me a DM on my Instagram SARTHAK VARSHNEY. Sarthak Varshney. Yeah, that's me. I'm the founder of SV Clicks, and SV Clicks is the producer of this show. You can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn as well with the same name. If you're willing to listen to more of such unheard, inspiring stories of the entrepreneurs, then don't forget to follow us by pressing that follow button on your podcast screen. Thank you for being such an amazing audience. Keep learning, keep growing. We'll be back soon. See ya.